Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing.
You came, we'll have Wanda, Wanda is my name. Oh, boys and girls, I'm glad you came. We'll have fun as I explain how we played. Wanda is my name. Oh, boys and girls, I'm glad you came. We'll have fun as I explain how we play our Wanda games. Wanda, Wanda is my name.
All right, let's sit down, everybody. Come on. Time for our program.
As I explain how we play our Wonder games.
Sorry for my walk-up music, but the 4 or 5 boomers that were raised in Seattle will probably get that one. Figure it's my only chance I'll ever get to. So welcome, everybody. Yeah, there's Wanda. Sorry, Wanda, you retire from Green Lake, this is what you get, you know. And I hope our online audience has been able to join us. So we're going to have some tributes here, testimonials, taped and live. I thought I'd start with my own. It's been a long time ago. I thought, well, the choir looks like fun, and they were kind of down. I thought maybe they could use another voice. And it's, other than special occasions, it's all amateurs. And many up there are like me. I had never sung in a choir. I did not know how to find a middle C and pull it out of the air. But they, like everybody, they let me in, and Wanda's so patient and knows how to bring people in and quietly point out where they need to improve. And sometimes not so quietly when it comes to the tenor section. But it all works out. It's an amazing process to see people like me that don't know what they're doing, have no experience, and like I now feel like I'm a choir person. I actually feel like I'm contributing, whether or not I am. So thank you, and we're going to move downstairs later, but we're going to start with a video put together by Gumi. So let's run that.
I've worked with Wanda for about 20 of the 27 years she has been the minister of music at Green Lake Church. During that time, we produced many printed documents for the worship service and special musical events, such as hymn festivals, Easter, International Sabbaths, Communion, and especially candlelight Christmas concerts. During her tenure, there was no drama and no tantrum. She was even-tempered, organized, thorough, and dependable. She met every deadline on time. She was a pleasure to work with.
Friday nights in the before times was special in that after rehearsal, we always had that moment to share our concerns or joys.
We would begin rehearsal with prayer, but she would also ask before the prayer, does anybody have a special request?
Friday evenings were always wonderful because I got to go to choir rehearsal, and no matter how tired you were before you went, at the end you were energized and had plenty of energy to drive safely home.
Stressed, and then you sit down and start singing, and by the time you leave, everything's wonderful.
I've had conversations with other members of the choir, and they would say the same thing. You come tired, but just the music kind of just lifts your soul and spirit, and you're kind of refreshed afterwards.
The other thing is, it is so wonderful to be able to work hard and have the opportunity to make something beautiful with your friends and something you can't do by yourself. It's a communal effort, and to have Wanda guiding that and directing that and us having a chance to enhance worship with what we did Friday night is a real gift.
And it wasn't so much, let us have a good rehearsal, but it was, Lord, we thank you for your blessings, and then the requests were addressed.
And I like the way she started each practice with prayer and finding out about our weeks and, just being kind and especially how she arranged the music to totally go along with, what the sermon was going to be. We're going to miss her horribly, horribly. I so appreciate her.
We're going to miss that a lot. Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be a next organist.
Wanda's best attribute is being Wanda. Her caring, her concern, her patience, her love for each one of us, her ability to make each one of us belong, have, own the space. And also just her unwavering faithfulness. She's always been there. I marvel at that attribute that she has of just always being there and making things happen, making music happen, and yeah.
I think her kindness.
Oh my, it's very hard to label it, to limit it to only one. She's organized, she's kind, she's cheerful, she gives us energy, and she prays for us. Those are all, I don't know which one I would say was the best.
Her kind heart, her sensitivity, her thoughtfulness of others. I would say that's her best attribute.
For us as choir members, her nurturing was singular and significant. It was special.
Very consistent, very reliable, definitely very reliable. Love her choice of music, and just reaches out to everyone and makes things work.
I think her graciousness, her steadiness, I don't know, that's two, I guess, but it's just her ability to be welcoming, to be gracious, to be steady.
I think, well, let's call it patience. But we have a choir of people, mostly, almost everybody like me. Well, I'm a worst case scenario.
Exceedingly well organized. Those rehearsals were, every moment was used and used wisely and used well. We didn't waste any time, and we felt good about it when we were done. It was lovely.
Apart from the fact that she's an unchallenged, gifted, talented, and exquisite musician and organist, is her deep love of God and the spirit that comes through her music and how she interacts with people. She is really a sweet, loving, kind, and thoughtful person, and it shows in her music.
But I guess I would say in terms of her role as music director and choir director, the thing that I was impressed by was how gracious she was. She was very even-tempered, and she never became impatient, although I knew she was sometimes. She never became impatient with anybody, or when we did something stupid, she just was, let's do this again. And I thought that was a very important part of the atmosphere of the choir, because I've certainly been in choirs where that was not the case, and it makes for some unpleasant times, and people get embarrassed and all that kind of stuff. I thought she handled that very well. I thought those were important attributes.
Wanda, we will miss you terribly, but please come back and visit. Please let us know where we can come back and visit you. Don't be a stranger. You're part of our lives for many years.
Wanda, thank you for being part of Green Lake Church for such a long time, and we are so blessed by your many gifts of music and bringing that as part of our worship service. We're going to really miss you.
I certainly want to thank Wanda for her dedicated leadership over the years, for the way that she really fully engaged with the congregation, the efforts they invested in planning for the services, for the music for the services, and making sure it was meaningful and integrated with the sermon material and so on. And for her musicianship, her sense of rhythm, her sense of occasion. And all of those were important to make for a very meaningful experience, and something that we thoroughly enjoyed. As I said, we were enriched by it, but are saddened that it is coming to an end, for us at least. It will probably get resurrected in other forms in the future, but for Verla and me, it is essentially, this is the end of our participation. And Wanda was, as I say, a part of that experience for us for half the time at Green Lake.
Wanda, I will miss hearing you play the Vidor at Easter. Thank you for putting up with us.
Congratulations on a jam-packed, busy, meaningful career. I'm so proud of you. You have changed so many lives and brought so much music into the world with all of your work, and I am thrilled for you. Congratulations on your retirement. I love you so much.
Great tributes, and I certainly endorse all of that. Although, as you know, I like a little drama every once in a while. Lowell Dunstan wrote a tribute, and he wasn't able to be here with us today. Elsie, just a minute, Elsie. Let's. Melody Gale's going to read that.
Melody Gale is going to try to read that. I hope I can get through it. One of the things that drew many of us to the Green Lake Church was the majesty and the beauty embedded in the music of the pipe organ. For nearly 27 years, Wanda Griffiths has ministered masterfully at the organ console through her role as minister of music. What makes the music of Green Lake Church every Sabbath morning so awesome and so powerful? One of our former pastors, David Wood, used an English metaphor to aptly describe the role of the organ plays in worship. The organ is the crown jewel of Green Lake Church worship. To understand the power found in Wanda's music ministry, please join me for a Friday night choir rehearsal, and you will understand. Each choir member gets a warm welcome, followed by relaxing musical warm-ups. Next, we sight read several pieces to get a feel for the music for the month ahead. Move with me now to the anthem of the day. Wanda leads us to focus on the message of the text, the mood of the music, the phrasing. We go through the parts several times, focusing on difficult areas. The choir reviews the responses and previews the hymns. The last 15 minutes of practice are both special and powerful. Prayer time. The needs of both choir and the congregation are lifted to the throne of grace. The choir may be prepared, but there is still much left to do. The organist sets the tone for all of the worship, ever ready with all the necessary transitions. First, the prelude. The varied moods of many worshipers must be lifted from mundane issues of life to the throne room of the universe, and to the awesome God who waits to interact with each of us. Through the opening hymn, Wanda continues to draw
every worshiper into a powerful sense of corporate praise. A dramatic modulation before the final stanza directs believers again to God, the Almighty, who can do all things for all people. Then the organ leads worshipers into each mood and part of worship, transitioning from prayer to children's story to scripture reading. The power of the finale of worship rests on the organist. In the final hymn, Wanda lifts worshipers up to God again, reassures that God is indeed big enough to care for all our needs, empowering us to enter a waiting world. After a full-bodied workout, like our favorite Charles Marie Vidor postlude provides, we're sure, Wanda, that you're more deserving of a Sabbath afternoon rest than a stroll in the park. Wanda, for 27 years as our Minister of Music, you have faithfully offered all of the above, always with a magnanimous spirit of grace and joy. From the depths of our hearts, we thank you. Though over a quarter of a century as our faithful Minister of Music concludes with your service today, the afterglow of your music ministry will remain with us forever. Thank you.
Hey, Elsie, did you want to come up now? This isn't open mic, but I don't want to be the first one to say no to Elsie, so.
My instructions are to open this here and that it's funny. So I'm not letting her off the hook. She has to stand here with me. It's terrifying. Oh. Oh my goodness. It's a beautiful cookie roll. So you can make cookies with notes on it as you roll things. And it says it's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. Wanda, here is your dough. Now roll your notes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next is John McClarty, all the way from Enumclaw. So.
I have my notes from my 3-hour sermon here. Yes. Wanda and I had a special connection from really day one. I loved the ending with Elizabeth. You know, we both had daughters who were professional musicians who were, when I got here, you know, dreaming of making it. And we spent some anxious times worrying about our respective daughters at inflection points. So, yes, it was nice to know that somebody, when I came in and said, Bonnie, and you go, I understand. Wow. You know, you were here 3 times as long as I was. Though it seems like I was here a very short time, so you weren't here very long. So, yeah, it was interesting for me, you know, coming into a church like Green Lake that, you know, was well organized, had lots of systems, both in the sort of hidden infrastructure of the church and in the liturgy of the church. And where I'd come from, we had zero structure, and everything was informal and spontaneous. I worried about, navigating this new world. And Wanda, you were a consummate guide in that time. Yeah, you know how to give advice. Maybe it's because she's been a choir director. She knew how to give direction without going, "Hey, stupid." It's like, well, have you thought of? Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You really gave me confidence to move because of the competence I felt in your arena. So much of church is music, as was said here. When I came out of seminary, I dreamed that the whole world was waiting for my sermons. And then I became a pastor and discovered that there were a bunch of people that said, yeah, whatever. We came for the music. Which is true for so many of us. And you were the minister of music. And I laugh because if, in the past somewhere somebody had talked to me about minister of music, I would have thought, well, the question is, can they play or can they sing or whatever? And then especially, here and working with Wanda and watching the amount of management, human management, which is, of course, music is made by people. And so being a minister of music in a congregation means managing people. And again, as was stated so eloquently by so many people, you have been a consummate minister of music. Friday night was another congregation and you were the senior pastor. And it's interesting, we've never asked you to preach, but I'm pretty sure that if we did, when you got done, people are going, man, why did we wait this long to get her up there to preach? And nobody ever asked me to sing because we all know that whereas you probably could do a pretty decent job in the pulpit, we wanted not everybody to leave during the performance, so they never asked me to sing. It was has been such a pleasure working with you. Some of the things that Carolyn said. Carolyn, I would sit in the office and talk about Wanda. And we would say those things about how we could count on you. It was wonderful. Thank you. Now, wait a minute. I have more notes here for my 3-hour sermon. I don't want to forget anything. Oh, yes. Nobody has talked. I don't think we got to realize that Wanda managed this deal at 2 congregations. Most of us are aware that one is enough hassle. It's sweet hassle. It's good hassle. But man, keeping up with one place, ties your brains in knots. And Wanda made it appear easy, the sign of an expert. It appeared easy to somehow manage 2. And wow. So the last thing, So in my latter years here, Wanda and I sometimes talk to retirement. And our respective dreams was I dreamed that I would retire first. And she sometimes dreamed that she would retire first. I got my wish, Wanda. Thank you. You were, it was such a joy to work with you. It was good for me. It was good for us. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Another tradition we have is you get a bouquet of flowers, and this is from Charlene Morrow, our chair of our worship division. And then after that, as long as you're here, we'll give you a chance in your defense to say a few words. Okay? Oh, Wanda. Diction? Huh? Diction? Don't mumble those consonants. You talk to that window, okay?
I really can't add too much to what has already been said, but I would say, in addition to everything, there were many, many meetings. As always, church involves a lot of meetings, and I was in many of them with Wanda in our worship committee meetings, and always appreciated, as John pointed out, your wisdom and your, gentle, well, how about this? Could this work? And it was always a good idea. So definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I did not prepare, let me speak clearly. I did not prepare a speech, however, I was warned. You all have become family to me in ways that no other church has, because you have been part of my life for half of my church music career. I've been a church musician for over 50 years, and I've been here for 26, 27. And yes, I was always managing another church, as well as sometimes teaching academic courses at the college level or the graduate level. Sometimes courses I had never taught before, those of you who know about that. So it has been quite a journey juggling all those jobs. It is hard to leave, and this is a very emotional day, but I never wanted to be the person on the organ bench where people are sitting there going, isn't it time for her to retire? And I will quietly admit I don't play as well as I used to. I don't have as much patience as I used to. And once I could see my way clear to this church being in a good position, John had left, but now we have wonderful Pastor Kevin and Danelle, we have Raven Leonardini, and I feel like you all are in a great place for the next chapter, and that this is a good time to step aside and let the next person have the opportunity to be blessed by you, and that person will bring new energy and new ideas. I have a lot less energy than I used to have. I have not announced to most people. I've kept very quiet about my age, but I turned 68 in April, and it's like, it's time to travel, not do 2 churches a weekend, not also work during the week at meetings and things, and of course, I will be watching from a distance, and occasionally, perhaps, I'll sit with John in the balcony, slip in after the service starts, and leave before it's over. But you have a wonderful congregation, and your love of music is so marvelous and is so energizing to a musician who is classically trained. But I also know you have a lot of people who are interested in a broader variety of music, and that music is worth doing too, and it's worth doing well. And my hope is you can set yourselves up for success in whatever endeavors you do. I would lift up Gumi Ibsen's amazing gifts, speaking of patient and speaking of gifted. And it's been a joy. I don't know Kevin as well, but to get to work with John for 10 years and have the level of support and the level of understanding was a huge gift. So I think at this point, we're going to say thank you. And it's very hard, but we're not going to say goodbye. We're going to say so long, and I'll see you around.
So please follow Wanda and I downstairs for some refreshments.